Welcome to the Podium. This is a Stats and Fats production all about motorsports. I'm Jim Rouse. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Podium. This week we're recapping NASCAR's 5 races at Dover, praising some sports car record setters, and glowing about the greatest spectacle in racing. Let's fire up those engines. NASCAR ran 5 races at the Monster Mile there in Dover, Delaware over the weekend. 1 for the trucks, 2 each for the Xfinity and Cup Series. Zane Smith grabbed a big win, his second career victory, in a Dover thriller. That actually gives him the lead in playoff points. Not bad, rookie. Justin Allgaier got his first win of the 2020 season, winning the Saturday race in the Xfinity Series for Dover, and Chase Briscoe got his series-leading 6th in the Sunday feature, coming from the back in car number 98. Good runs by both of them, and Ross Chastain, who's been the most consistent driver of the season, he got his first stage win and playoff point of the year. So Ross not looking so good in that category, but at least he got a win there. And hey, 3 wins in the playoffs are enough to win the championship no matter what you do, as long as you're in the playoffs. So we'll see what Chastain can do with the 10 car. And on the Cup side, Denny Hamlin got win number 6 of the season on Saturday. Kevin Harvick responded Sunday afternoon with his 7th of the season, and that clinched him the regular season title. He also tied a legendary driver in the sport for 9th all-time in wins, that driver being Kyle Busch. Okay, fine. I mean, does it really count that he tied him? Yes. But the two of them kind of going back and forth on the wins list is going to be fun to watch for the next couple years till Harvick decides to hang the helmet up. Going into Daytona on Saturday night, Matt DiBenedetto and William Byron are in the last 2 spots, and Jimmy Johnson sits 4 points behind Byron for that final playoff spot. Clint Bowyer will clinch as long as he doesn't wreck out early and finish 40th, and Eric Jones is not going to be able to get in without winning unless all 3 of those drivers crash out early. So it's pretty much those 3 guys for the last 2 spots, unless Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, one of the front row motorsports drivers, a JTG Daugherty driver, somebody outside of the bracket really, is able to win the race. So we'll see how that goes. It could end up being the 3 of those guys, DiBenedetto, Byron, and Johnson, fighting for just 1 spot. Playoff points, those stage points, are going to be huge come Saturday night, I guarantee it. In the sports car and supercars world, Bill Auberlen broke Scott Pruitt's record for major North American sports car victories by taking his 61st victory at Virginia International Raceway. So a pretty cool thing there for Bill Auberlen. 2 legend of the sport, and Scott Pruitt, he was very nice about it, and he said, hey, at least I don't have the pressure anymore of the record. In the V8 sports supercars over in Australia, Scott McLaughlin moves to 5th all-time with wins 49 through 51 during the week, passing legendary driver Peter Brock. He's still got a ways to go to the record of 117 by Jamie Whincup. And of course, McLaughlin looking at moving over to IndyCar soon with Team Penske, so not really sure that he'll be breaking that record, but still, what a career so far by McLaughlin, already a V8 Supercar Hall of Famer. Then in the Indy 500, a great race. Scott Dixon dominated. Alexander Rossi was there with them, but it was Takuma Sato who sat behind them for most of the day in 3rd, in 4th, and stole the victory. But I don't think he stole it. Some people would say he did. I don't think that he stole it. He went and took it from Scott Dixon is what he did. There on the last run, Dixon let Takuma Sato by. He said, no, you have the lead. And Dixon was never able to get back by him. I don't think that Scott Dixon makes very many mistakes, but I bet that's one he thinks about for a long time, because he made a mistake. He should have never let Takuma Sato by. It's not like it was a few years ago with the DW12 where you could pass at a whim. Early on in the run, you can now, but late in the run, it is just too difficult to try to make a pass in those cars. So I think Scott Dixon made a rare mistake, and unfortunately for him, it cost him the biggest race of the year. As for finishing under caution, we'll answer that in our question section coming up next, but the Indy 500 is never tarnished by remaining 500 miles. Now it's time for some questions. You can send us your questions on Twitter at StatsAndFats, or you can send them to me personally at JimRouse96. You can also send them to us on Facebook, Stats and Fats Productions. Ricky asks, what do you think of the NASCAR throwback scheme so far? Well, some are good, some are bad. Let's see. Discount Tire and Keselowski, that's kind of it's lazy since it's so similar, but it's nice that they do it back 10 years. Same for Daniel Suarez. It's cool as they did that for him running his Xfinity title car, but that was only 4 years ago. Not really a throwback. I like the theme that Busch Beer does with Kevin Harvick running the old cans. This time it actually looks like the cans from when he won the Busch Series title back in 2001. So that's pretty neat. Ryan Newman, this one kind of got missed by the radar a little bit, but he's got a throwback to his old Silver Crown car. So that's kind of cool that he's got that. Then you've got guys like Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Clint Boyer, Joey Logano running throwback cars to different drivers. The Ray Bestis car that Jeff Burton drove. Blaney's got the original Menards car. Kyle Petty's running the Kyle Petty Pete car. And then Logano running a Bobby Allison Red Miller car, which I find interesting since Keselowski's not doing a Miller throwback anymore, that Logano is going to do that. The Wood brothers, of course, they always do their throwbacks well. They've got, I think it's the Marvin Panch ride, and that's the one Tiny Lund actually drove to the Daytona 500 victory, so that's a good one. But I think Hendrick Motorsports did it the best with Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Alex Bowman running throwbacks to seven-time himself, Jimmy Johnson. Then Jimmy, in his last throwback weekend of his career, he's doing a scheme to represent the Big Three. He'll be driving. It's Earnhardt's famous Goodwrench Black on the side and the base of the car, and then he's got, as the hood, the roof, and the deck lid, the King's Petty Blue. So that's a really cool scheme, and I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to have to buy one because it just looks too cool not to. Lynn asks, who do you think makes the playoffs in the Cup Series? Well, with the two spots effectively open, I'm guessing they're both going to points. I don't think somebody's going to steal the win. I hope they do, because that'll be really cool. But I also hope Jimmy Johnson and Matt DiBenedetto make it, so hopefully one of them wins the race, and then the other gets in on points. Both the front row boys race real well at the play tracks. Eric Jones has 2 wins at Daytona, including the Clash earlier this year and the 400 a few years ago. You can never count Ricky Stenhouse out at the plate tracks. I think I said that a few weeks ago. But I feel like you're looking at the 21, the 24, and the 48 fighting for those last 2 spots. If I'm Rick Hendrick, I'm having my guys try to get those stage points to get ahead of the 21. That way the pressure's on Matt and not his guys. But at the end of the day, I'm taking DiBenedetto and Jimmy Johnson to get the final 2 spots. I think Matty D's going to run up front, at least in the stages, prevent the Hendrick guys from passing him. And then I just have a feeling like they're all going to get taken out, but Jimmy Johnson's not going to get as damaged and be able to circulate and make his way in, which will be good. I want to see Jimmy in the playoffs and maybe even win a race and go an extra round. That'd be pretty cool. And the final question here comes from Janet S. She asks, the Indy 500 ended under caution. It kind of ruins the finish, doesn't it? It seems to be a real split in the racing world, but I'm telling you right now, I'm always team distance only, unless it's a playoff event. And that goes even in other sports too. When the clock hits zeros at the end of the game, it's a tie, unless it's a playoff game. In racing, that means, it just ends under caution. In golf, if it's not a major, it's a tie. I'm okay with that. I think it's ridiculous that the Daytona 500 becomes the Daytona 522 and a half. I'm okay if there's a red flag, like if there's 5 to 7 laps to go, because caution should only be 3 to 4 laps. Other than that, it should really be a red flag, because that means it's more dangerous than, somebody wrecked, let's clean them up real quick, get in the pits and go. You don't want shenanigans to determine the winner either, but when Pickett crashed with 4 to go, I think even if you're lucky, by the time they get behind the pace car, a quickie yellow, you're still not even getting the pace car in until they're getting ready to take the checkers, and that would obviously be really dumb to just have a run down a straightaway determine the Indy 500. To answer the original question, no, it doesn't ruin the finish. My favorite Indy 500 had 2 turns of green flag racing in the final 7 or 8 laps. That was 2013 when Tony Kanaan won. My favorite Daytona 500 was in 2017, the one that Kurt Busch won, and it just would have been a different finish had there been a green-white checkered. That one was the one that came down to fuel strategy. Elliott, Larson, those guys all ran out of fuel or had it sputter. That was so great. 500 miles means it's 500 miles. 60-minute games are 60 minutes. OT is only needed in case of a tie in the playoffs. Does that answer your question? Good. Now, let's head down to the podium. In third place, it's Takuma Sato. No attack, no chance. The 43-year-old driver from Tokyo started his career as what would have been a meme, being overly aggressive and, frankly, dumb in Formula One. The only time he had a top 3 car over there, he earned just 1 podium and was outshined by teammate Jenson Button 85 to 34 in points. Guess where his podium finish that year was, though? Yep, Indianapolis 2004. To think now that 16 years later, Sato is a 2-time Indianapolis 500 champion, a feat only 20 people, including him, have ever managed. Now just imagine if that move on Dario Franchitti had stuck back in 2012. Congrats Takuma Sato, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, and Honda. In second place, Kyle Larson. On Friday night, Larson earned probably the greatest win he's had with a daring pass on Logan Schuchart in traffic. Coming to just 3 to go, Schuchart made incidental contact with Larson, which sent him to the infield and half a straightaway behind the leader. Just catching that car was incredible. But he wasn't done. In the last 6 corners, he rallied to close back up to Logan Schuchart. He tried an outside momentum rider that Logan blocked, and he promptly cut low, the undercut, the anti-slide job, to take the win by inches at River Cities. Then, on Sunday night, he wins the Hoosier 100, a massive victory to take, considering that race was supposed to be dead after last year. They weren't able to tear the track down because of the COVID-19 situation, so Larson got a chance to go win it, and he did. The talent is obviously still there, and many in the know say the true remorse and correction are too. Inevitably, sprint cars will once again be, pardon the pun, left in the dirt by Kyle Larson. And in first place, his IndyCar. What a remarkable job by the entire IndyCar community this week to make the best of the COVID-19 situation that's been handed to them. Props to Roger Penske for eating this one and ensuring the greatest day, not just in motorsports, but in all of sports, still went forward. A great job by the IMS staff to honor longtime ticket holders with a video showing drivers sitting in those seats that they've had for years, and a wonderful way to honor the hometown fans by having drivers visit them at their homes in Indianapolis, thanking them for their love, passion, and commitment to the greatest race in the world. Here's to 2021 being the best one yet to give us a Penske perfect Indianapolis 500 when us fans can truly be back home again in Indiana. Thanks for listening to The Podium. Remember to like and share the podcast with your friends. Don't forget you can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more at Stats and Fats Productions. Check out our YouTube channel as well, Stats and Fats Show with Fitz. Talking Hardball with the Fats will post on Wednesday night. Hat Trick Hockey uploads every Sunday afternoon. And our main show, the Stats and Fats Show with Fitz, drops every Friday night. Again, remember to tweet your questions to us on Twitter at Stats and Fats or on Facebook, Stats and Fats Productions. And don't forget to attack that next corner.